The things that used to work and what to do instead. Welcome to the Modern Insurance Agent Podcast.
We're your hosts, David and Elle Denning.
What happens when a millennial couple dives headfirst into the insurance world, scales $1 million remote business, and decides to share the journey with the world?
You get the Modern Insurance Agent.
Here, we reveal the messy, magical, and sometimes hilarious realities of building a business and a life you love.
From traveling the globe to building remote teams. Yes, even working remotely on top of a mountain in the Philippines. We're sharing insights, strategies, and plenty of laughs to help agents and entrepreneurs succeed.
Because, let's face it, success isn't just about hitting numbers.
It's about designing a life that works for you.
So let's dive in and build something extraordinary together. Welcome back to the Modern Insurance Agent Podcast. We are excited for today.
Yes, we are. And as we jump in, we want to remind you that you can grab the show notes and resources and all of the goodies at jumpstartgonow.com/podcast. We actually have some digital downloads for you to get started on referral partners, marketing compliance, and all kinds of great cheat sheets. So head on over there.
Look at you trying to steal all the thunder by giving them free stuff. Okay, well, I give them stuff too. Listen, we got lots of resources, so grab them and I'll come up with something special, right? We all know that feeling. Like you open Facebook and you see another agent posting something from Canva from 2018 or the same post you see like from years and years ago. You're like, man, what is this? Like a decade ago? And we're like, it doesn't get engagement, it doesn't get comments, no one's reaching out. It's like trying the same old, but expecting different results when the game's changed a lot.
Yeah. And we, in this episode, are going to be diving into some of the things that I think that a lot of agents don't really realize how the game has changed. So we're going to dive into what has worked in the past and what isn't working today. And the good news is we're also going to show you how to adapt to those changes.
Which adaptation key. So lots changed over the last 5 years. So like I said, we're going to cover not only, what's not working, but we'll cover like the actionable steps you can take for things that you can put in place now. And social changes faster than most things, right? Like, it moves very quickly. Now that we've, with AI, really getting integrated into a lot, it's moving even quicker, right? So if you're kind of still using those 2019 tactics in 2025, you're a little bit behind, but that's fine. We'll show you how to catch up, right? We don't want you, basically showing up to a gunfight with a flip phone.
That won't do you much good, huh?
Probably not. They might feel bad for you and let you go. So I don't know, maybe it's a win, right? So we're going to break down into kind of 4 big shifts agents need to make right now so they can stay relevant and start getting results, And so, yeah, let's go ahead and hop on in, right? So, Elle, what do we got up first?
Yeah. So one of the big things, this is so huge in social media marketing. And it's something that we have to actually help our clients that start working with us to unlearn. And that is to create these really fancy graphics in Canva, or even before Canva was popular, maybe it was like in Illustrator or Photoshop or some sort of graphic design program. Because the reality is that back in the day, so think maybe like 2016, 2018, it got really popular to do these really like nicely branded graphics and to post them on social media, especially when it came to promoting your business. But those types of graphics do not work anymore, and people still use them. I also think part of the issue is that carriers will create this type of content and they push it out to their agents to share maybe about new features and policies or benefits. And the thing is it just doesn't perform well. So with the rise of TikTok and short form video, more and more face forward content, personal branding, and especially video is performing so much better than these graphics. And maybe you're listening to this and you've been that agent that's posted primarily very strongly branded graphics. And honestly, it's not your fault, because that is what a lot of, like I said, carriers or maybe your FMO, your IMO is telling you what to do, and you feel like that is social media marketing. When the reality is that people are looking for that human connection. They're really coming to social media to be entertained, not necessarily informed, especially platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. They are looking for content that is punchy, short, and very face forward.
And, I think carriers, IMOs, FMOs, know social is important. They just don't really know how to use it, how to leverage it, right? So, me getting my social media marketing from a carrier that, listen, I'm not really sure how this works. Let's give them some graphics to put out there, and at least they'll have something to post, isn't really where I'm going to be seeking that advice or that marketing from, right? And, at the end of the day, I kind of relate it to like if you were buying like a car, right? And someone's doing some generic post and it's got the car and it's got all the details, the engine, how many buttons are in the car, what's, is it super effective? No, it's like, I know I'm looking, but this is a lot of information. And a lot of these graphics end up as that. It's all these details, all these breakdowns, all these things, and people just not paying attention. And it either leans really far that direction or it leans really far the other with just a super generic, hey, life insurance is important. It's like, okay, that also didn't really spark much as well. Because once again, people are on social platforms. So it's not that the information is not great that's maybe the carrier's providing or that, people are creating content on. It's just that it's not capturing any attention. It's not getting anybody to pay attention to it. They're there for the puppies and politics, right? On social. And it's also just nothing that someone's going to not just skim past, right? So if I can't get someone's attention and paying attention to that, and also that it's not coming from me, so it's not even really building authority, even though I'm the person posting it, it's just building the authority to the carrier, then it's not really being effective. And at the end of the day, if I'm going to take the time to do stuff on social, like I want to do stuff that gets results and is effective, right? Does anybody like wasting time? No, really, right? So, and that's what I want you guys to get more out of your work, right? And more out of your efforts. I don't think most agents are willing to work really hard, but we want to put the time and effort to the things that grow our business and get those results. The same thing with social is we want you kind of move away from these things that don't really get any interest, any engagement, any results to what does, right? So we just talked about what doesn't is generic images, Canva graphics and stuff that I'm grabbing from the carriers or Life Happens or Hearsay Social, all these things that just really produce nothing and mostly just get crickets. And, whereas, videos, reels, selfie-based posts outperform those graphics 10 to 1, right? It's so much more important because of that human connection. So what's working right now? What are some things they can go put in place?
So I really like, David, that you pointed out, it's not that the information is bad and it's not that you shouldn't be sharing this information. It's just the way that you're sharing it. So if there's maybe information that the carrier is providing, or maybe there's like a new, maybe like benefits or some sort of policy or something that you can do with the particular type of product or something like that, that you're really excited about. But instead of posting carrier branded graphic, a way more engaging piece of content would be to record a quick video of you explaining in very layman terms. So just remember that you want to avoid insurance specific jargon, words, acronyms that people probably have no idea or don't understand. If they don't understand it, if they have to work to understand what you're saying, they're definitely not going to pay attention. You're going to lose them right away. So you want to use language that's very beneficial in how they can use the policy. So or the product. So that's one way you could do it. The other way, which actually I like this even more, is when you write a policy or you have clients that are using certain benefits of policies that that you think are like, wow, these are really, really cool features of a policy. When you're helping clients, you will let your audience know. Do a social post, and it can be a very simple social post. It could be one that could be just like a selfie of you, maybe working at your desk, or you could even use the colored background type of content that Facebook provides. And you could say something like, just helped a client with this type of policy, and they get these types of living benefits that they can use in this certain way. And you can explain the benefit of that through the lens of how it's actually going to help that client. And what it does is it contextualizes the benefits. It contextualizes what the product does for them in a way that is what we call social proof, which is when people see other people using a product or using a service and having success with it or getting some sort of benefit from it. It makes them more likely to be interested and to trust it. So you're bringing in that element of social proof. And again, you talking about it either using face forward photography with like a selfie, or talking about it in a quick little 30-second, 60-second video. Yep. David is holding up his phone in front of his face right now as if he's taking a selfie. That is really going to help shift the conversation more to make it more human, because that's really what we're trying to do here. We're trying to make it human as well as easy for people to understand what it is that we actually do and how we're helping other people.
I love it. And we can use AI and some things that help us with content and stuff, but not an untrained one. So don't just go ChatGPT, hey, write me a post about life insurance, copy paste it, right? It's not going to perform well. It's probably going to be evident that it was written by ChatGPT, and if it's not, it'll definitely still be evident that it's not you because it won't really talk like you, write like you. Anybody who's been paying attention in your audience will know that as well. I can use one that trained very heavily for parts of things, but yeah, don't want to come across as robotic or something that's like, hey, that doesn't even make sense. But yes, we can use things to help leverage as a part of that. But the face forward, building a relationship with you, the trust with you, and also just it's social media, it's built that way anyways, is going to way outperform anything else. So make sure your content's looking like that. If you go scroll through your feed right now or go through your profile right now and scroll and look at your content, be like, man, I don't see me at all. I'm not in any of this stuff, right? My face, anything about me is all just generic, like, hey, buy life insurance, or GoFundMe's not life insurance, or if your life insurance on your phone, but not your kids, all that kind of stuff. And it's like, man, it's crickets. And yeah, that's probably why. So let's talk about the next thing, right? So another thing that maybe used to work a bit, but even then maybe was not near as effective, but definitely not now, is business pages. Business pages are ghost towns right now. And whereas we'll tell you what to do instead, though. But, back in the day, I had a business page. I go talk about my business on there, get followers on there. They'd see my content, engage it. It was like kind of this idea that I could separate like my personal and then just do the business on the business. And, it might have been originally Facebook's idea, that's how it worked. And at the beginning, to be honest, like, you could get some engagement and stuff going on business pages. It was, it was the good old days, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I didn't really, back probably like 2015 timeframe, 2014. It didn't really feel like there was too much difference as far as reach on a business page versus a personal profile. And it made a lot of sense at that point to separate your business from your personal. We hear this a lot with clients that start working with us. Oh, well, I'm posting about my business on my business page. I keep my personal like personal, which makes a lot of logical sense to do that. But the shift is, it's been a good, probably solid 10 years, I would say, that since the shift has made. But we still run into this misconception a lot, because it does make sense to put business on your business page and your personal on your personal page. But what's the reality of how Facebook is thinking about this, David?
Yeah, I mean, Facebook's a business. It wants to make money. And, if anybody sits there and is like, why is this giant thing free for me to use? It's because they make money for people paying them to get in front of you, right? From ads. That's how Facebook makes the vast majority of its revenue. It's publicly traded. Its goal is to make money, right? And so, when they originally created these business pages, it's like, great, cool. We can start getting people to do business here. We might even tease them with initially over the first bit that, hey, my reach is pretty good on business pages. I can get, people paying attention here. But does that make a lot of sense for Facebook business wise? No, because they're not getting paid off, people use a business page and getting people to pay attention there. So they need to reduce that attention because that doesn't really make any sense for them. And so what they did is they started reducing the reach of business pages. Like we said, this is a long time ago. So if this might be new information though for you. And so they reduce it to typically today, it's gone all the way down to 1% or less. Meaning if I spent time, attention, money, get 1,000 people following that business page, I'm be lucky if even 10 people out of the 1,000 see anything. So if you go to your business page, you start scrolling through and you're like, man, you're right. There's not a lot of comments. There's not a lot of engagement. There's not a lot of stuff going on. It's kind of crickets here. That's part of the reason why. Facebook doesn't really want to encourage that because they'd much rather you pay them for ads or worse, boosting posts, right? And so a little quick tip is please don't boost posts, guys. That's pretty much just hand Facebook money and light it on fire, right? If I am going to spend anything, make sure you're using the ad platform, which is separate from boosted posts. Little side note.
But David, I could get 150,000 views for $2 when I boost this post.
So number one, no, you're not getting 250,000 views for $2. I'll tell you that off the bat, right? And then
but Facebook said I could.
Facebook will lie to you guys. Facebook will straight up lie. And no, you're not getting that. And number two, it'll give you the types of things you're asking for. And when you boost a post, generally there's people just click boost post. You're telling Facebook, hey, I want some more people to maybe see this or maybe, engage with it a little bit. What I'm not telling Facebook is, hey, I'd like my target audience, potential customers to see this, engage with it with my goal of actually turning them into clients. Facebook just hears, oh, show this more people, gets more engagement. So Facebook will do exactly what it was told to do. And it'll be like, man, I got some likes, I got views, I got comments. And then you'll be like, wait, none of this was my target audience. None of this actually came through for appointments. None of this converted to deals. Okay, well, maybe that wasn't super effective. And this is where people are like, man, I boosted posts, and I really didn't get anything coming out of it, right? And that's why we generally say, please don't. It's there's better uses for that money, for example. So with that, okay. Should I not have a business page? You should still have one. It's good to have one. It's great for finding some information. Where to email, where to call, and a few posts that, hey, I'm in business, right? But it's not where people go explore. I mean, think about this yourself. You're like, man, I got an extra 15 minutes. Oh, for fun, let me go hop on Facebook and go browse some business pages and see what's going on and see what they're pitching me today, right? No one does that, right? I don't know about you, Elle, but I definitely don't. I don't know, but it's entertainment. It's social media. It's not there for browsing business pages, and they know that, right? There's a reason Facebook has way more activity. People spend 2.5 hours a day on average on Facebook, and they're not spending that amount of time on LinkedIn. LinkedIn isn't exactly I'm getting my entertainment from LinkedIn. So with that said, okay, so Facebook, I want my business page, but that's not where I'm spending my time and attention. So where should they be doing that, Elle? What is working?
Yeah, so that goes back to social media platforms are social, they're personal, they're about building relationship. So we really want to now blend that personal and the business content together from one profile, which is going to be that personal profile. And that personal profile gets 10, sometimes 20 times more engagement because people engage with people, not companies, as well as when you're posting, like David already mentioned, that he mentioned that when you're posting from a business page, the platform just really isn't going to reward that unless you're paying for that reach.
So, just to kind of summarize that, for the personal profile, you will get more reach. More people will see it, right? More people, engagement-wise, will engage with it. So now I get engagement, which Facebook rewards. We can go through algorithm later on, but also that means now I have opportunities for conversations, to move people to Messenger, to calls, or going back and forth with them. So that's good. I'm getting engagement. But you also get to build that trust and rapport with you. Right? Like I don't, people don't buy from faceless entities. They buy from people they know, like, and trust. So I get to do that through my personal side as well. I get to blend in some of this trust and rapport from just who I am personally as part of that as well. So I get all these benefits and advantages from the personal profile, and it actually is what Facebook wants too, because Facebook wants people on the personal profile getting very connected, very engaged, lots of stuff happening, anything that produces engagement and keeps people on Facebook, because then they get to serve them more ads and make more money. So Facebook actually does reward that in the personal, where it doesn't reward that on the business page.
Love it. And, really thinking about building out your brand around you. You're using your face. I always say your face is your best brand asset. Your story, like sharing your mission and your why. Why do you do what you do? And that is content that people deeply connect with, especially if maybe you experience something that was catastrophic, and maybe insurance played a big role in helping you during that season, or maybe somebody that or that you didn't have the coverage, or somebody that didn't have the coverage, and why you do what you do now. Sharing that story is going to be something that people connect with. It's going to be something that makes you stand out, because it's a story that makes you memorable. People connect with stories. People connect with purpose and mission way, way more, going back to the first point of this, of like pretty graphics. People will connect with you and your story and your face so much more than they will ever remember the most beautiful Canva graphic that you designed.
A selfie pic with a post about like a tip about insurance, but the selfie pic being me, like, is going to get vastly more engagement, attention. And I'm not saying you have to make that same face, guys. Let's be honest. Like, I'm trying to break the camera here, but you can do something that's you, right? Of course, across of it, but it will get you way more attention, way more connection, way more. This is a real person, especially in the age of AI, where people are like, what's real, what's not, right? And like, it's going to benefit you very much so. So let's move more to you and less of the just kind of like highly designed stuff that's just really not going to build that trust rapport with you. And let's move to the personal profile versus the business page. And if you heard us talk for a while, we go into a lot of depths around algorithm and stuff, why, but we kind of broke it just at a high level for you here. So, okay. So we got the first things to transition to, right? So what's the next area? What's the next area of what used to work, but hey, it's definitely not working today?
Yeah, I think the idea of just like the more I post, the better result that I'll have. And David and I call this the spray and pray method. So I'm just going to put it all out there. Sometimes people call us like, I'm going to throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks.
Not a marketing strategy. It's like this, like the agent's like, hey, it's just a matter of putting, getting stuff to where people notice it. Like, and so they're like, I've been putting my business cards on urinals in the men's room or wherever. And maybe someone will see it and call me for insurance. I'm like, has that ever happened? No, but maybe, right? Or I left them on the gas station pumps. And, it's a lot of what used to be done, because marketing used to be kind of a little broad, a little bit knowing I'm not going to hit this just to my target market. And so whether I throw up a billboard, whether I put something in a magazine and stuff, I was like, okay, hopefully the people reading this magazine are my target market, but it was very broad. Now we can be incredibly targeted, even organically, with who we're going after and who we're connecting with. It's just different. So spray and pray is not really a marketing method. it's just it's a hope and a dream, which is not really what I want to build business on.
And I think this is also where another big misconception comes from, is that in order to really have an effective social media marketing strategy, that it has to take a lot of time. And this kind of falls into that same bucket, but we really operate out of being strategic, and that strategy comes from knowing your niche target market. Like if your market's really broad, if you're trying to sell to everyone and become known for everything, that's going to create, like, you would have to create so much content to try to hit all of those markets effectively, which is just actually impossible for any small business to do. So having a target, having a niche audience allows you to be so much more effective with what you're doing on social, so that you're actually connecting with that target market. Going back to like boosting posts, the platform, when you boost something, is just going to show it to whoever is most likely to give it a like or give it a reaction, or so that it's optimizing for that particular metric. It's not optimizing for a high intent, high quality person that would be somebody that could actually do business with you, whether that means that they're located in your area, your state, and that they have the need and the financial means to work with you and, actually buy the solution that you're offering. This is the same idea of when you just like throw spaghetti to the wall, or you're just, trying to like put out a bunch of content without strategy. It usually comes from like not knowing who it is that you ultimately want to connect with. And then taking it a step further, really understanding the type of content that person resonates with. So once we know the who, we can kind of work it backwards on, okay, well, what are their values? What are the things that they come to social media for? And then we build a content strategy that's really for the benefit of that person. And that's how we get strategic around it.
Love it. So what looks like spraying and praying is just putting a ton of posts out. Hopefully someone sees something. And especially if all those posts are just all business, come get insurance from me. What does it also look like? It looks like sending a bunch of DMs randomly cold to people saying, are you keeping your opportunities open? Are you looking for additional income? Or, have you considered getting insurance? Like all these things, that's spray and pray, right? Popping into a lot of Facebook groups and posting, hey, want to get life insurance? Come talk to me. Need car insurance? Need health insurance? And just posting that in a bunch of groups. Like, that's also spray and pray. So it's the idea of put enough stuff somewhere and someone will come through. And usually it's because I'm trying to put a little bit in a whole bunch of places. It's usually very direct pitchy, which also doesn't perform well as well. So instead, what Elle's talking about is having the target markets, tailoring stuff to them, being effective with the communities, the groups I'm getting in front of, building trust rapport with, and bringing the results through there, leading with value, mixing in that personal with the business side. And so being very strategic and running a strategy to get results versus, and sometimes it just comes from a lack of knowledge, right? Like, it's like, I don't understand how social or marketing works. So my idea is just try to get as many people who maybe see me versus an actual strategy. And so that's what we're talk about is like having the strategy and putting that in place to effectively get my target audience coming to me, referral partners coming to me, and knowing here's the steps I take. Right. I was just talking during a training day is, hey, it's don't put out a ton of posts. That's not really the most effective thing. Cause like, why would I use social for a business? I want to get in conversation with my target market, appointments, sales. Same thing with referral partners, get my referral partners and get them sending referrals out of that. So it's not so much the amount of content is, am I getting into these conversations with them and appointments from that? So that's more where me engaging and connecting with them is more important than a number of posts, right? That's only part of it. In fact, it's probably the most passive portion, right?
Yeah. And I just can't stress enough the importance of knowing your target market and also creating content for the benefit of that market. So one quick example that I'll give you is like, if, for example, your content strategy is around family, and that's because that's like something that you value. It's something that that your potential clients also value. But if I know my target market that I'm looking to reach is going to be more younger families, then more of my family-based content is going to be around young families. So like for me, I don't have kids, but I would definitely be posting more about being an aunt with my nieces and my nephews. So like young growing families, kids. If I'm going more senior market, well, I'm going to be talking about my relationship with my mom, my parents, David's parents. Like I'm actually, so both fall in that bucket of family, but I'm being strategic on like my relationships inside of my family and who I'm really targeting with that messaging and the content. So when you're just posting for the sake of posting without a strategy, it's essentially like yelling into a crowded room when nobody is listening and you still lose your voice. So you're exhausted at the end of the day versus having a strategy and really implementing what we teach, which is niche marketing. It's the difference between just yelling into a crowded room versus still being a crowded, noisy room. But I say, David from across the noisy, crowded room, and he hears his name and he turns to look, right? Like if David's just hearing more noise that's just joining into the cacophony of noise, then he's not going to pay attention to that. But if I say, David from across the room, he's going to turn and look. And that's what niche marketing does. It stops the scroll and it gets people to actually pay attention to what you have to say.
And as they see you and recognize, they're like, "Oh, it's Elle again. Oh, it's David again. What is he talking about today? What kind of silly face is making?" Right? And so you just now they're always stopping and other stuff like, "Oh, I enjoy Elle's content. I enjoy David's content." Right? So with that, one of the last ones we want to cover for today is that's not working today is cold calling and lead chasing is dying. Let's say it's not working period, but it's getting tougher and tougher today, right?
More and more compliance issues with this one too.
Contact rates, level of trust, especially when there's so much like that's ramping up with AI calling, AI voice, all these things too. It's people are going to hit more today than ever and less wanting to respond or engage with that than ever as well. Right. And so if you look at millennials, Gen Z's, like they just want a recommendation. Like, who do I connect with? Who do I go to? Like, I want to choose, or I'm going to ask my buddy. I don't want to fill something out knowing I'm going to get hit by everybody under the sun that gets sold to. Right. And so things have been changing a little bit. And was almost going to say like, well, okay, leads used to be the norm and then now it's changed, but leads didn't used to be the norm, right? If I, go enough back, like how did a lot of small businesses build? They built in their communities. They built trust with other businesses. They, involved churches, nonprofits, shake hands, kiss babies. And they were very involved to where they built all these relationships and all that business just kept coming to them. Their business was sticky. They didn't have to go really seek out clients because everybody just came to them anyways and got referred over, right? They had these referral relationships too. And so it's leaning back to that now is the relationship side, the transactional side of like, hey, let me call someone I got no rapport, no trust with, hope they answer, overcome a whole bunch of objections, hopefully, so they buy something and then hopefully they keep it and stay my client and I don't get chargebacks. And then hopefully they remember me in the future to maybe send me a referral. And that's really how a lot of the industry still operates, but yeah. It's just getting tougher.
Yeah. And the thing I think that we've lost, not just in the insurance space, and I don't want to say lost, but is really the art of building relationships. Because even like going back to like the purchasing leads, even like purchasing leads, I think we've just lost a little bit of maybe it has never really been taught in the context of purchasing leads, but really the idea of like nurturing a relationship. And I think so often agents come into this space and they're like, I'm going to buy these leads and they're just going to be ready to buy, and they're not investing a lot of time into follow up, or if they're following up, it's a very salesy, pitchy type of follow up of like, I mean, I get these text messages of like, are you ready to buy that life insurance policy? Like, it's just so on the nose and so direct. And it's kind of like, no, I'm not ready for that yet. Like, I don't know you. Like, and it's this art of building a relationship, whether we're thinking about like dating relationships or friendships, like somebody, like just think about making friends. Somebody that you first meet, you're likely not going to tell them like all of the deep dark secrets of your heart or things that are, you know, like your traumas from your past. But after you build a relationship with somebody and feel comfortable with them, you're going to open up and you're going to share with them things that you wouldn't share with just somebody that you're passing on the street. And whether it's a lead that you're buying or somebody that is connecting with you on social media, I think so much we're just like so intent on making that sale that we lose the process of developing the relationship and really adding that value. And I see this in whether in marketing all of the time, and whether that's purchasing leads, running ads, running an organic strategy, or I think one of the worst ones is referral partnerships and looking to develop referral partnerships and, you know, really taking a value first approach and getting curious about people's businesses and seeing how you can add value to them first before you're asking. And again, the cold calling and chasing leads, like there's just so much more that we need to be doing because there's been so many bad actors out there that have scammed people through these methods. Compliance is getting harder and harder even for calls to be picked up. So you got to find other ways to connect with people. And that's why social media is so powerful. So like I always tell our clients, like, if you are not like connecting with your clients or even your prospects or your leads on social media, you're missing out on an opportunity to continue nurturing that relationship.
Yeah, I think a somewhat similar industry to insurance that maybe has a slightly healthier perspective towards this that I think insurance agents can leverage is real estate, right? We talk about in general in most industries, only 10% is ready to buy today. The other 90% are ready next week, next month, next year, right? And in real estate, typically the buying cycles and relationship cycles are a lot longer. And so real estate knows this. So they focus heavily on relationships and touch points and being in front of people, being top of mind, referral partners, because it's not a, just call, hey, you buying a house today? You selling a house today? Oh, no? Okay. You're dead to me. Next thing. And that's how a lot of people treat leads in insurance because they want this very quick cycles, right? Which, there's definitely opportunities, but they're just sorting through trying to find that 10%. And they're just missing out on 90% of these opportunities. So even the ones that are writing business and doing stuff off the leads, they're getting just the minimal amount of results for their efforts when it could almost end up with like a 10x from those results, right? And this is where I want to focus to these relationships because that means the other 90%, I'm able to connect, be in front of them. So a few days later, a few weeks later, a few months later, I've got these people coming through and in my head, I'm like, did I talk to them 6 months ago? But for them, they're like, man, I've seen you every day, David. Like, it's great. I love your stuff. I love paying attention. Man, you made so much sense. And it actually explained why I would want this type of insurance and not want the minimum amount and why that would be a good fit. Oh, cool. They're already an educated client coming to me, already thinking about it, serious, already trust me. Well, that's a much easier deal to close. And it's for something 6 months ago that now I've pulled across the line. And now I'm even more profitable because it would have just disappeared to whoever they talked to 6 months later, right?
Yeah, I want you to think back on your own buying habits and have you ever made a purchasing decision, maybe a big purchasing decision because you had a good feeling about it? Like, and if we're being honest, you making that decision probably came down to the person that you were interacting with that you ultimately had a good feeling about. I'm thinking about our most recent house purchase here in St. Petersburg. We connected with multiple real estate agents that were local, but the one that really stood out to me was the one that was like, it was a 4th of July. We hadn't been connected. recently necessarily, like it had been a couple of months, but she reached out on 4th of July because she remembered that our dogs were really scared of fireworks. And she was like, hey, I hope that your dogs are okay. And she sent me a photo of her dog that was like all bundled up in its thunder jacket. And I was like, whoa, like, I can't believe that she remembered that detail about our dogs. And like 2 months later, reached out to me with this text message. Like, that really stood out to me. So when we were actually in the buying market, of course, she was top of the list as far as agents that we were reaching out to at that time, because and it wasn't anything about buying a house or, hey, are you guys getting closer or anything like that. It was a relationship connection that she brought into it. So that's something that you have to remember as far as when you're selling to consumers and business owners too. But consumers are very driven by emotion and feeling. At the end of the day, how they feel is going to be the number one factor for them in actually making a purchase. Even if you presented all of the facts and you made all of the logical sense, at the end of the day, it's how you make them feel that's going to result in that purchase or not.
And going back even further with her, Elle, we originally were looking to buy the home about a year prior to that, or so. And we went to an open house, and she happened to be the person running the open house. And we talked with her. She gave us good advice for local spots and places, made that personal connection with us, and stayed in touch. And it was, like I said, like a year later, and that we moved forward with her from that. So establishing that relationship, making those touch points. If it was a lead, someone called me on the phone and then it was done and then didn't hear from a year, of course I'm not going back to that person. I don't even remember their name, right? So the relationship side will continue to reward you. It's not only like a reward initially that they trust you, then an easier sale, probably more referrals off the bat, but then continue to reward with more referrals or coming back, like go buy the next home and it's anywhere in South Florida, probably reaching out the exact same agent to do the next deal with, right? And it's the same thing when you think about your target audience and customers that you're building relationships with.
I love it.
So guys, those are a few of the things. Actually, we actually have what to do instead. Those are, I know we said 4 areas today. So those are what we have for you. We'll look forward to continuing conversations, maybe in some of the comments, reach outs and stuff. And we can then go, hey, here's what's working now instead of that as well for you guys as well. So, but, with that, we talk about building a personal brand that attracts instead of chasing clients. I don't think anybody likes chasing, right? So it's not a fun game of tag. You're it, right? We talk about combining organic, social, and strategic referral partners for warm inbound growth, right? These are things that are working right now and continue to work, right? We're talking about using AI and automation to save time while keeping that human connection, right? I only get 24. I was just doing a training. We're talking about, man, there's a lot of things to do in my business every day. That's right. We only get 24 hours. How do we make more time? Well, through systems and processes and people, and learning these systems. No random acts of content, random spray and pray. Let's move away from this, guys, to what's actually working, right? And hey, where do we help teach that?
It's exactly what we help our clients with inside of the Closers Click. So especially like on the marketing side, and I talked a lot about niche marketing, target audience. Like, the reason why we share so much on this is because our most successful clients, they get to that niche audience. They get to that target audience. So that is really a foundational concept. And this is one of the key areas that we help our clients with. We really help them remove the guesswork out of it so they can build that strong brand, find that target audience, connect with them online, which ultimately results in warm leads, reaching out to them, conversations, referrals, staying top of mind, no cold calls, and no generic Canva or social media post either.
So if you want the playbook for what is working right now, how to leverage it, get results in your business, just reach out and we'll get you information of what it looks like. The Closers Click to do what these other agents and agencies are doing there, bringing in business and having fun while even doing it. And, honestly, like infinite ROI, where it's like, I don't have to rely on these paid leads and ads and chase people down. So to recap, as we're wrapping up today, social media didn't stop working. You just need to adapt to what is working in 2025, as a part of that. Also, the agents who adapt the fastest are going to dominate now and over the upcoming years, especially as things are continuing to shift, right? I gotta be paying attention. The same thing doesn't just keep working forever, right? And if you're ready to stop blending in and start getting results, well, now is the time to do it. And I don't think anybody likes to wait for results in their business or likes to feel like what they're doing isn't effective. So now's the time for change, because nothing changes if you don't change. So, Elle, where can they go grab all the show notes, resources, everything we got for them?
Head on over to jumpstartgo.com/podcast. And like I said, we have some digital downloads for you guys, some marketing checklists. And then of course we have all of the show notes. So if there's something that we said that you want to revisit, we've got the timestamps and detailed notes there for you too.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us on this episode of the Modern Insurance Agent Podcast. We'll catch you on the next.